boy and the young girl who gets trapped in this kind of life has been portrayed on film time and time again. How come you chose to take a new approach to it, and how did you find your angle? Because it's a very specific and particular angle. So how was that process for you?
Hi, thanks Kurt for staying. I know there's a lot to absorb after this film. So prostitution is a very strong subject for me, like for forever basically. As soon as I got conscious of prostitution when I was a teenager myself, I reacted very strongly about it, and so it imposed. This subject was just an evidence when it came to make my first feature film. But then, so I thought a lot about it, and I was just like, so I didn't want to, like everybody knows what prostitution is, you know, we all know what it is, but I didn't want to get into like the intellectual side of it. I really want to, immerse the public into what it can be to be a prostitute. So I had a very like sensitive approach, concrete approach, you know. Yeah, that's it. Very raw, very raw. Nothing like no over dramatization either. No miserabilism, no glamour as well. I just wanted. I wanted it to be very like straight, direct, and yeah, so that was part of it. This explained like the repetition of this whole thing, because you know, if I didn't want you guys to get immersed into what prostitution can mean, I would have stopped after 2 clients. I mean, you know, we get it, but the whole point was to like really get deep into what it can mean, like, and how we become, as Noemie, as we become to suffocate into this and to feel alienated. And yeah, so it's a physical experience basically that I wanted to make. And also like the way I shot it, like I decided to turn my camera towards the clients, which is something I didn't really see before, or like very rarely. And it's because I've been amazed to realize that clients are at the center of this reality, but they are like invisible. They're invisible in our public debate, and they are invisible in our films and TV series. And I thought I'm gonna make them exist. You know, I'm gonna give them body and flesh. And it was also in the, you know, my intentions was also to not sexualize my actress, as we do like so often in that kind of scene. That's it.
Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please raise your hands. Once again, there is a colleague with a mic who can help you. We have a question over there. And I take this opportunity to say, by all means, if somebody doesn't feel confident enough to ask a question in English, please ask it in Romanian, and I will be happy to translate. Don't let that be. We have a question over there, and then we come to you.
Bună seara, felicitări pentru film foarte realist. De unde ați știut cum se întâmplă în realitate partea aceasta de prostituție? Adică mă gândesc că dumneavoastră n-ați avut astfel de experiențe traumatizante să fie un film autobiografic, să spunem. Cum ați reușit să știți că într-adevăr așa se întâmplă? Adică eu, din câte știu, lumea aceasta cumva e subterană și trebuie să fii de acolo ca să pătrunzi și să știi exact cum se întâmplă lucrurile. Mulțumesc.
O să traduc, I will translate. So, good evening and thank you for the film. How did you know that this is actually the way things happen? Because unless you had the experience yourself, which he doubts you did, this is kind of an underground world. How did you actually get to the information? How do you know this is the real thing?
I actually made a lot of research. So I met lots of young prostitutes, older women as well. I also met a pimp who was 17 years old when I met him. So he was 17 years old and he was pimping girls of, 12, 14, 16 years old, whatever. And so, I really did my homework on that side of things because, this is not my story. This is not an autobiographical movie. So I did a lot of research. But that being said, I don't pretend that I did the portrait of prostitution, in every single way it can happen. But this story is a very typical story. It's archetypal. And many people that were into prostitution or that still are saw the film and systematically came to me to say, like, I've never seen something that realistic. And I recognize the clients and I recognize like all the concrete things that I'm doing in the room while I wait for the clients, blah, blah. So, I had this validation of the reality, I guess, afterwards as well. But I took it very seriously because for me it was a way, I wanted to make a super realistic film. And it was a way for me to honor these girls, women, and men as well, or men, of course, to get into this. And it was a way to respect them as well.
Thank you. We have a question over here, and then, please.
Hello. Could you tell us something about the Lamborghini scene? Because it felt a little strange. So that it's a little bit. It seemed a little bit out of character for her to get excited about that car.
The Lamborghini, when she asked to go on the ride. Yeah. Interesting. I never had this question before. It's cool. The Lamborghini. Well, Noemie is a very impulsive character, and she's different from most of the kids she's hanging out with. Even like within this street gang and at the youth center as well, she's a little bit, I don't know, on the side, an outcast a bit. And so she has this impulsion to ask this man to do this ride. And that's it. I went for it. Some people were wondering, like, is she gonna escape at this moment? And I thought of it, but then I thought that if she did escape, it was a little bit too much like Disneyland type of thing. So I refrained to go there. Yeah, and to be honest, at first, Noemie was, she really likes karting because she grew up near this, karting circuit, whatever. But during the writing process, for a long time, she was also like a car lover. So she was actually into F1 and all these like luxurious car. So I guess that there's a little bit of, how do you say? It's a little bit of replica maybe of what she was as a character before, but I thought it worked as well this way.
There was a question over there in the back, and then you. If you can raise your hand again so my colleague can see.
Hi, thank you for the movie. It was great. I really liked it. I'm actually curious, how come you chose a fairly happy ending? Like she seemingly got out of the cycle.
There's been lots of ending, and I chose this one because it's, she returns back to the center because at this moment of her journey, that's the only place where she can actually go. But it doesn't mean that she's gonna stay there. And it doesn't mean that she won't run away again, which most likely gonna happen, in fact, because usually when you get into prostitution, it won't be like a one-time deal. It's, there's always a going back to it and relapsing, and because it really affects many things within these people. So there's some light at the end, and I think it's partly because meeting all these girls and women to make my film, it kind of, I guess I wasn't able to go into a very dark ending. And Leah does this work a bit, because Leah is further into prostitution and we don't really see how she's gonna exit from it, yeah. But Noemie, like, so there's a little bit of light at the end, but again, like, for me, it really doesn't mean that it's the end at all.